podcasting from Portland East to Portland West, from Big Pine Key to Pacific Beach, and from San Juan to Guam. This is All Across America. Marco, thanks for being on the show, and thanks for having me here.
Thank you for your interest in myself and Masonry.
All right. Well, we're at the Freemasons Lodge in Ridgefield, Connecticut. You are the Worshipful Master, the president of Jerusalem Lodge, number 49 of the Ancient and Free Accepted Masons. Did I get that right?
Correct. Yes,
Okay.
Perfect.
So how'd you get involved?
So I come from Italy, born and raised in Italy. And I had to say that in Italy, Masonry is not seen as in the U.S. In a good light. It's more a negative light.
I see.
And that is mostly because of what happened with Silvio Berlusconi, one of the ex-presidents, prime ministers, more than 30 years ago, actually. And so because of those events, there is a negative connotation for Masonry. So I was not really very interested when I was in Italy. But then I was selected for an expatriate role in Istanbul in Turkey, where I lived for 5 years. And the top executives of the Italian company where I was initially hired that sent me to Turkey, some of them were Masons. And a couple of my friends, colleagues from Turkey, Turkish people, they were active Masons. And they were really trying to push me into Masonry. And back then, I was not fully convinced yet.
Yeah.
But what I saw there was really very interesting. And so I started thinking about joining because they really wanted me to join.
And you were in Istanbul at the time?
In Istanbul, yes. And then I decided to leave the company and move to the U.S., So I was crazy enough to come here without a job.
Wow. Okay.
So I moved here looking for a good fortune or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was lucky because at the end of the day, I was in Chicago for 11 years and did not know anybody, of course. But when I moved here in Ridgefield 10 years ago, in 2015, I was intrigued, first of all, by the sign of the Masonic Temple. This lodge.
We're right on Main Street.
On
yes.
Main Street, so
yes.
it cannot be.
Thousands of people walk by it every day.
Exactly. And it's another point that in most of the towns or the cities, you have Masonic temples, not lodges, really on Main Street or very close by.
Yeah.
So that one, and then also the fact that I was very pleased with the big positive difference between the schools where I was in the suburbs of Chicago versus the schools here in Ridgefield. They were much better here. So I wanted to give back to the community. And the last big point to me was in 2017, there was an advertisement on the newspaper of Ridgefield asking for volunteers or for anybody that was interested in participating in the reenactment of the Battle of Ridgefield.
Yes.
And I learned that it was organized by this lodge.
Okay.
So I said, this is the time. Now I really want to join. So all these things brought me to a realization. It's like the universe is calling for this. I need to do this. And so I decided to contact the lodge. And back then, you had to really do it a few times. They were not really answering right away like today. So today we are trying to attract people and to join the lodge.
Be a little bit more welcoming and not so hard to get.
Back then it was more like a sort of proof that you are really interested and you
fair
really
enough.
wanted to become.
Fair enough.
So there was a positive point. I just did not know that. So I was trying to do my best to be part of this event. And at the end I did. So I was very lucky to join.
Yeah.
Of course, not as a reenactor, but I was supporting the lodge in trying to sell a few things to do some fundraising for the lodge. And so that brought me inside the lodge. It was a very good way for me. I was really very proud. Yeah. And I think I was very lucky also to join this lodge, which is a wonderful lodge with very nice people. And so that's my story. But, many times you hear story of people that have their grandparents or their father that were Masons. It was not my case.
Yes.
So maybe it was that missing type of exposure in the family that did not drive me or my interest into masonry initially, but it did afterwards, and so I'm very proud, and I want to be for all my life a Mason. And
that's terrific.
Definitely, yeah.
And so there are a lot of father, son, even grandfathers at this lodge.
Yes, wow. Very true. We just 1 year ago we had the celebration of a son of the secretary that became.
Oh wow!
Yes,
wow.
Yes, so
and I mean, this building here, I was surprised to read you have occupied this building since 1808.
Yes, it was bought in the 5th of October, 1808.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So it's 217 years. I mean, it's
a lot of tradition. Yeah. Yes. And I mean, and masonry is 600 years old.
Well, honestly, it should be more.
Okay.
In a sense that probably the proofs that can be really found today,
right,
they come from 600 or so years ago.
Okay.
But if you think about the concepts that are typical of masonry, like the pyramids or the obelisks,
yeah,
they come from the Egyptians.
Right.
And so it might be
thousands.
much well before, more than 2,000 years, actually. And of course, there are no proofs, but we had our secretary that went even to Cambodia to see the temples in Cambodia with another friend, another Mason, active writer. He wrote several books about the connections between those ancient civilizations and the concept of Masonry. And it was really unbelievable to see so many similarities. So there are even books that somehow prove, until a certain point, that Masonry seems to be coming from, way, way back.
So its origins have many different branches, maybe, that came together. And when actual Masonry, as we know it today, was formulated, it's hard to say.
Exactly.
But it's ancient.
Exactly, yes. Because even if you think about the concept of the lodges, the lodges were basically buildings or like a sort of forestry where the Masons were living to build bridges or domes or cathedrals in Italy that were well before than 600 years ago.
Sure.
So the lodge was really the house, so to speak, of the Masons.
I see.
That's the concept of the lodge. Now it's not the case anymore, of course.
Nobody spends the night here.
Exactly.
Okay. So that does make sense because, you're thinking lodge, hunting lodge, some place where somebody is lodging, which is...
Exactly, yes.
And so, and how many members today?
Well, we are between 60 and 70. Of course, it changes, not between the old members that are dying. Unfortunately, of course, and the new members that are joining. But yes, that is not the biggest number, of course, but we try to, to hire, to, involve new candidates and become Masons.
So let me ask
regularly, yes.
Let me ask you this: how do you become a Mason? Like, I asked how you became a Mason, but if somebody was interested, what are one, how do you do it, and two, what are the criteria?
Well, sure, of course. So first of all, it's a sort of long life commitment, in the sense that we ask initially to be committed for your entire life.
Wow.
So that does not mean that you need to come every session that we have, but we want to be sure that you take this kind of honor to join the membership as something that you don't want to withdraw from. You want to really keep and keep growing yourself, because it's a sort of way to improve yourself in many different ways. And the other requirement is to believe in God, and we accept, and that's another beautiful thing. We accept any kind of religion, so we don't ask for Jesus Christ. You can be part of any religion. I think that's a big plus.
Yeah.
The only thing is that it should not be a religion that has several gods. It must be a single god.
Monotheistic.
Yes, monotheistic. Yes, correct. That's one requirement. And then we do an inspection. The other point is that you should not have had issues with the law. With if you were in prison, for instance, that is one way to not be accepted.
I see. Yeah.
And then, to accept candidates, we usually perform a sort of inspection. That's what we call inspection, in the sense that we invite the candidates to invite us to his house to be sure that we can meet the wife as well.
Wow.
And be sure, of course, if the candidate is married, to be sure that the wife accepts this kind of involvement of the husband.
That's pretty smart.
We don't want to have wives that say, "Oh no, you should not go there. You should not do this."
Yes.
So we accept we understand the efforts and the involvement, the commitment that we are asking to the candidates, which at the end of the day, it's really something positive. That you become a Mason, you want to do it. It's not something heavy, it's not a burden.
Yes.
But we want to be sure that the wife, of course, understands and agrees with the choice that the husband is going to make.
Right. Otherwise, it's like buying a boat. If the spouse is not so into it, you may have it for a few years, and it's like, all right, that's enough.
You want to keep the couple happy, yes.
And so what is your role in all of this, and, as Worshipful Master, as president, in terms of bringing on new candidates and just your role in general in the lodge?
Yes, so bringing the candidate is not only my role, I am part of it, and I always like to be part of the inspecting team, for instance, or to talk to anyone that is willing to learn a little bit more about Masonry or this lodge in general, so that I can help to provide a good perspective of what we do and who we are. And my role in the lodge has different points of view, in the sense that I like to say that as the sun rises in the east to open and govern the day, so I sit in my chair that you saw before to open and govern the lodge, in the sense that I need to, as the president, drive the sessions for 1 year, because a president is elected for 1 year.
Just 1 year?
Just 1 year.
Wow.
I was lucky enough to be elected for 2 years in a row. So and even before that, there was the prior Worshipful Master that was not able to attend for several months, unfortunately. So I replaced him. And then I was elected and re-elected this year, which makes me very proud
That's great.
of that. But usually it is good to give everybody a choice, the chance of being the president, so to speak.
I see. Does it generally tend to be short terms, or can it be 1 year renewed over and over and over and over again?
Well, usually not so much. In the sense, it's better to change, which makes the fraternity and the lodge itself open to changes in a style or in projects that we want to lead. And so I welcome the idea, of course, of having somebody else next year. But of course, I'm also open, if, because it's on election. Now, everybody votes, and based on the votes.
So everybody gets one vote, and it's a majority vote?
Yes. Everybody one vote in the evening of the election, which is at the end of December.
Wow. And is that an in-person vote?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Of course. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And how many years between when you joined and then became president?
Well, I joined in 2017. And to become a Worshipful Master of a lodge, you need to go through all the chairs of the officers of the lodge. So you need to learn every single chair role.
Okay.
And that means, first of all, there are words, there are statements, because our sessions, our rituals, are performed according to the ancient rules. So the terms, the English terms that we use are ancient. It's like if you heard Shakespeare, more or less.
Okay.
So you need to learn those words and those phrases, and every role has a different statements to make. And that's mostly for the opening and the closing of the ritual. And then during the ritual itself, we do whatever is needed. You can have a degree for a candidate, or you can discuss about an event that you want to do, like dinners, for instance, or joining another lodge for another event, or anything like the projects that we want to carry out and so forth.
Yeah.
So there are many things like the bills that we need to pay or the motions that we want to
and the
make.
boring stuff too.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
part of the role. So you need to do these things.
Yeah.
And so the question on what you need to do now as a worshipful master, I need to lead all these activities, and then to become a Mason, you really need to be motivated. But these are the basic requirements to become a Mason.
And so the lodge, you said there are other lodges. How many lodges are there, let's say, in Connecticut, I don't know, tri-state area?
Many. If you think about Danbury, for instance, in Danbury there are two. The physical lodge is the same, it's the same building, but they meet in different days.
Interesting, okay.
So most of the towns have lodges.
Really?
And yes.
So we're talking 100 in the state of Connecticut alone.
Yes,
okay.
Yes.
So we're talking thousands in the United States from coast to coast.
Millions, I would say, very likely in the world.
Yes. Wow. Okay. And I mean, all 50 states, I presume. There's, I don't know, almost 200 countries.
Yes, I think that most of the countries have Masons and lodges.
Okay.
Some of the countries are, especially those ones that have dictatorial powers, they are more hidden.
Yes.
So you cannot go in Main Street and see. No,
right, and have a sign outside and you walk right on up sort of thing. Okay, yes.
No, of course, like for instance, if you think about World War II, when Hitler invaded Poland, the Germans were targeting all the influential, so all the aristocrats and the high-level politicians, officers, the policemen from the firefighters and so forth. And the Masons were a target as well. So they went like silent and they were chased and many were killed.
Wow.
Yes.
Because they felt that they had positions of influence and power because of their Freemason affiliation.
Yes, not to cause any problems, so to speak, by threatening in a way or another the German army.
I mean, I mentioned we were using the bathroom and there's a portrait of 14 United States presidents that had been Freemasons, although the last one was Lyndon Johnson, who was the last president in the 1960s.
Because I think that picture is old.
Okay, so were there other Freemasons since him or that were presidents?
I'm not sure. I know the most famous that everybody knows are, from Washington. He was the first, and then Theodore Roosevelt or Franklin Roosevelt as well. But if you think about around the world, even Winston Churchill,
really,
he was a Mason as well.
Okay. And so what areas of the world is it most prominent? I presume the UK and the United States?
UK for sure, Europe, I think all over Europe,
really?
US as well.
Okay.
But if you go, in South America as well, I think everywhere. It's not just something that is related to the Western world.
And so if you're traveling, I don't know, in Italy or the UK, can you pop into a lodge? How does that work?
Yes, it's definitely a good question because I think that's one of the big pluses of being a Mason. The fact that you can travel, or if you think about relocating somewhere else, that is even the most important thing.
Interesting, because you have a built-in set of buddies.
Exactly, and that's a very big plus. If you move from New York to San Francisco or to Italy or Germany, or it's a big plus because you can have a new set of friends from day one. And that's amazing because it's really a good fraternity in the sense that when you travel or when you go in other lodges, you need to observe some kind of requirements. So the requirement for you is to greet and be recognized in the proper way. So there are gestures and words that are needed. But first of all, there is a procedure to do that in the sense that you need to contact, or your lodge secretary needs to contact the Grand Lodge of the state that you're living, like in US, and then through them they contact the country lodge, the main lodge of the country that you want to go, so that you can tell, I want to be in this lodge this day or for this period, And so the lodge knows and expects you at that moment. So when you go there, you need to be recognized, you need to go through the process, salutations and words. But otherwise, it's always a big plus. We heard a story. We had a prior worshipful master of this lodge that went in expatriate role in Poland.
Oh, wow.
And so he was able to join the Warsaw, or one of the Warsaw lodges from day one.
Wow.
And he spoke very highly of how he was welcomed.
That's great.
But even the treasurer that we have here, he went to France, in Paris. And he was always speaking so well about that trip because he was welcomed like a king. Coming from New York,
Right.
Yes. So it was, so there is always a very good brotherhood or, respect and brotherly love. What we think is important.
You mentioned the Grand Lodge. Can you talk a little bit about that structure? You've got, this is the lodge, there's a Grand Lodge. How does that work?
So every state or country have the main lodge that is the one that grants the authority to the lodges of the state to be open as a
lodge?
As a lodge, yes, but as a proper charter, the organization and so forth. So it grants the so-called rights to have a formal lodge of free and accepted Masons. Okay. And that requires a payment on an annual basis.
Okay.
And requires some attendance to the meetings that they have, the elections. Over there is also the Grand Worshipful Master of the State that is elected on an annual basis as well from the officers of every single lodge.
Okay.
So there is that kind of participation. It's like a two-way street where we give and take from each other.
How many officers per lodge?
7.
7, okay. Led by the president. So essentially it's an odd number in case of voting. And
No, it's the 7, they are necessary. I mean, depends on the role, but it's important to have a change in them so that people can learn and become master mason of the lodge and teach to the new candidates and so forth.
So you had all 7 roles at one point?
Yes.
Wow.
Maybe I skipped one, but...
Sure, okay. Wow.
But yes.
And so you help elect the worshipful master of the Grand Lodge of the state of Connecticut.
Yes, yes. There is an annual meeting for that.
Yeah.
And we have to, yes.
Wow, okay.
The 3 main officers usually go for this election day, and they have a proxy. If they cannot, they can grant it to somebody else of the lodge, another officer.
Wow. So we were talking a little about degrees. And can you talk about that? There's the entered apprentice, fellow craft, and master mason.
Yes, definitely. So there are degrees because every degree involves a different type of symbolic journey that the candidates needs to go through. And they have different meaning, different symbols as well. But the overall commonalities among them is to improve yourself, first of all, to do something better for you. So to be a better man, a better husband, a better father, a better member of the community, a better worker, a better boss, and so forth. So this kind of idea of improvement, self-improvement, is very important. And that is what is driven by all these symbolic rituals as well. So the enter apprentice is the first one. Then the fellow craft, as you said, and the master mason. To pass all of them, you need to do some memorization work so that allows you to move to the next step. Okay? And each degree involves like a sort of choreography, a ceremony that has some kind of choreography where the candidates plays this role of a symbolic journey where like a sort of ritual or obstacles are encountered, and the lodge and the brothers provide like a sort of truth or wisdom.
The hero's
to
journey.
Go through that, to go through it at the end in a successful way.
Wow.
And it's always done with a lot of efforts by all the brothers.
Mm-hmm.
So we request the candidates to do some memorization work, but the ceremony itself requires a great memorization by all the people that lead the degree.
I see.
So there is like a sort of leadership by example, in the sense that we have.
You're not off the hook once you've memorized. You've got to. Yeah. And is there anything that you could recite back now? Or
it would not be fair to.
That's fair enough. I figured I'd ask. Wow.
Yes.
I mean, are we talking like a page, pages of recitation? I mean, how much memory?
Well, the memory is. It looks like difficult because it's in Old English.
I see.
So
yes.
that's what makes really
Chaucer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Also because sometimes when you read it, it does not make really full sense.
Yeah, it's Old English.
It's Old English, but also sometimes it's done like backwards,
I see.
words
So it's almost like memorizing a foreign language in some respects.
Yes, maybe not so difficult, but it's not like a plain English like we are talking right now.
Yeah.
So, but overall, I mean, I did it. It was my second language. Everybody that is here did it. So at the end of the day, if you really want to commit, you do it. It might take a little bit more, one month more, but at the end you do it. It's not impossible to do. And again, these degrees teach morality, virtue, principle of self-improvement. And even if there are these allegories or symbols, but I think it's worth to really take it as a sort of learning experience. Like for instance, I can give you the idea that from the symbolic point of view, every lodge has a small room adjacent to the temple.
Mm-hmm.
And that room is like a sort of chamber of reflection where before the initiation, before starting the degree with the candidate is sent there so that he can be prepared from the clothing point of view for the degree, but it's also a way for him to contemplate about his life or the intentions about becoming a master mason so that he can fully embrace his new Masonic identity.
Wow.
So there are so many things in the ritual that seem small, but they have a very big meaning for, when taken seriously, of course.
And how long does it take? So you start out as not even when you join the lodge, are you an entered apprentice or do you need to pass a test in order to become an entered apprentice?
Well, it starts like this. You need to be shown, you need to show that you are really motivated and I want to do this.
Okay.
Then we do the inspection, and then you can attend the meetings in the lodge because we initiate you to the first degree, which is the enter apprentice, right?
I see. Okay.
Then after that, you need to commit to do the memorization.
I see. Getting to that fellow craft.
The memorization allows you to get to the degree of the fellow craft at the second level.
Okay.
And then after you have done the degree of the fellow craft, you need to memorize another part that is not so different from the first one, so that you can go to the
master mason.
Yeah.
And so how long does it take most new entered apprentices until they become a master mason?
Well, we usually like to do this in less than a year.
Oh, really?
But usually it could be 6, 7, 8 months.
Okay. All right. So
it's not too much at the end of the day. Of course, it depends on how busy you are with your job and the memorization, how easy it is for you. But it's not something that is impossible.
Yeah.
In the past, it was much more difficult than today.
Really?
Because it would take years. Because in the past, as far as I'm told, the person that wanted to become a mason had to meet face to face with a tutor or a mentor.
I see.
That was teaching him.
Okay.
So it was more verbal. Today we
you got YouTube.
No. It would not be possible to see it on YouTube, but we give the paper.
Okay.
So that at the end, people can learn by themselves.
Right. Okay.
And at their own time, leisure, and so forth. So that it's much faster at the end. It would be much more difficult to do it otherwise.
And meetings, I saw just outside, it says you meet twice a month?
Correct.
And
the first and the third Monday of every month.
And how long are these meetings? What do you do at the meetings?
So we meet from 7:30 usually to 8:30, 9:30, depends on how many things we need to address.
Mm-hmm.
But usually there is always somebody here around 7. So from 7:30, the lodge is open, and it's open to the public. So anybody, men, women, children, can come and see the temple, for instance, which is always something that I welcome and appreciate people doing, because it's a good way to see something that probably people would not see, right?
Yeah.
And so they can have a good idea, at least, of how it is. So again, the lodge is open until 7:30. Then when we start a ritual, the temple is closed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's closed in the sense that the door outside is still open. So anybody can still come inside.
Mm-hmm.
However, we have a brother Tyler that is in front of the door of the temple to check that somebody that wants to come in is properly a Mason.
Wow, so they're like a sentry almost as a guard.
Yes,
okay.
Exactly. And then we have another brother Tyler again inside the door so that the two of them can communicate.
And when you say Tyler, that is their title.
Tyler, yes, is the title of the Mason that is in front of the door, either inside or outside, that manages who enters and who leaves. Yes.
Okay. All right, probably the original usage of the term Tyler. Now I feel like it's a kid's name. So I just wanted to make that distinction. It's like, some guy named Tyler is.
No, of course.
And so my understanding, there are obviously there's business. You got to read the minutes and all that,
correct.
and the boring stuff. But then I also understand that there's lectures, reading of Masonic papers, philosophical discussions. What happens, as much as you can talk about it? What happens at a general meeting?
In any meeting in general?
Yes.
So first of all, there is the process of the ritual to make the temple like safe, if we can use that word, in the sense that like a sacred area that can be considered proper for the ritual itself.
Yeah.
So there is all these opening ceremony, so to speak, which is the same at the end to properly close the ritual. And then in between the two, the lodge is open for anything. So we can discuss like the status of the projects that we are carrying on. Like, for instance, the most important one that we had was the reenactment of the Battle of Ridgefield that we spoke before.
Yeah.
That was probably the biggest one that I am aware of. And so there was a lot of work to do, from contacting the police to open and close the roads, or the firefighters, or to have the various companies or groups, I should say, or the reenactors that came here from all over the United States.
Wow.
So to organize everything. So it was a big endeavor.
Sure.
And so it required a lot of brain damaging, so to speak,
yes,
to get it done. But otherwise, on a normal basis, we read the minutes. One thing that is common is to ask for an update on sicknesses and distress. So if brothers have something happening to them.
Sure.
What I started from when I was elected changing was to add something to it. So I wanted to give a positive spin to that. So I am always asking for positive events.
Celebrations.
If someone has anything.
Sure.
So it's an open question just to celebrate in a positive way.
Sure.
Something that happened to us. It's not only the negative. Of course, we want to know about brothers in distress, or their wives, children, or relatives, and so forth, because we want to give a prayer, want to say a prayer for them. But I wanted to know also the positive events to celebrate. And so that's something that I started. But in addition to that, we need to read the minutes. We need to go over anything that the secretary has on his desk, from invoices or candidates' petitions or other lodges events that we try to promulgate. We try to advertise so that our lodge can participate in other lodges events. Like, for instance, last Friday, I went to the Scotch and a cigar night.
Oh, okay.
that the Arc 39 Lodge was organizing in Danbury, in an open outdoor space in the house of a brother in his yard. So there is always a lot to do. And usually what I bring is also either a lecture or a point of discussion to spark some kind of, we usually don't talk about politics. No, we don't want to have that
Good
kind
idea.
of. But otherwise, it's always something that has a Masonic influence or impact somehow. Like, for instance, the last thing that I sent for the first meeting in September was the Masonic origins of Labor Day. It was this article that was very interesting to me that I wanted to share with the brothers. And it showed how Masons influenced the events that led to the Labor Day.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So, I mean, things like this, or Masons in World War II, for instance. There was another article that I found that I wanted to share with the team. But otherwise, even going through lectures and explain, we have a brother historian that knows, the most of all of us.
I see. Okay.
That sometimes we can ask him for some explanations.
Sure.
Or we had a brother secretary that brought in a friend of his in the financial sector to do a lecture.
Oh, great.
And there were many people from other lodges that attended that night. And he brought real examples of things that are going on, that are happening in the financial sector that were now brought to our attention. It was really very interesting.
And now, was this person presenting a Mason himself?
No, he was not a Mason.
Interesting.
He was just a friend.
So somebody can come in, join a meeting. Okay.
Yes, because there is always the chance during the ritual to call at ease, to go at ease, in the sense that to stop the ritual for a moment.
I see.
So we can have, anyone coming. And then after that event, we can restart again the ritual and go to closure.
Okay. And so what do you mean by ritual?
Yes. The ritual is just like a sort of set of procedures.
Okay.
That we need to do to properly consider the session in agreement with the rules of the Masonic rules.
Sure.
And those are the same everywhere, in every country, of course, in every different language, but the words are the same. So if you are bilingual, or if you speak multiple languages, you could go in another country and see that the words, they are still ancient, but they are the same. So the ritual is exactly the same.
Okay.
For all the free and accepted Masons, they are all the same.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so that it's a spoken...
Yes.
Recitation.
These are statements.
I see.
There are words, statements that every officer needs to know.
I see.
And it's just one after the other. Now it's like a process, so to speak.
I see. And you mentioned you meet twice a month.
Yes.
You also talked about every December there's an election.
Yes.
Are there specific events, holidays that are recurring year after year that Masons celebrate?
Yes, in the sense that there are the ones that we self decide, in the sense we always have a summer picnic. Okay. Or we do monthly dinners.
Oh, wow.
And since I started as a worshipful master, I started doing monthly dinners.
That's great.
And initially we started doing 1 month with the brothers and 1 month with the wives.
Oh, wow.
alternating, right?
Nice.
And then the wives got so much involved and they liked the dinner so much that at the end we started doing only with wives.
All right. Success.
Yes. I mean, it was something, definitely very nice, of course. But the things that we celebrate are, of course, all the national holidays, of course.
Yeah.
Because, like, for instance, from Veterans Day or any other historical holiday, there are always Masons that have contributed quite a lot.
Yeah.
And so it's a double type of celebration, as a citizen of U.S., but also as a Mason.
The contribution to creating Labor Day. Yeah.
Yes. And that's true. I mean, if you think about World War II, for instance, the Masons were so many.
Yeah.
Many soldiers were Masons back then. So, Veterans Day is definitely a big day for
Makes sense.
For Freemasons.
Makes sense. And so on the website, it says, we embrace the tenets of friendship, morality, and brotherly love. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yes, I mean, those are the values that we have. I mean, those are like core principles of Masonry from many points of view, in the sense that towards the brothers, first of all, but towards your family, again, or your workers, or the community itself.
Yeah.
So generally speaking, every lodge has projects done throughout the year to give back to the community.
Oh, that's great.
Which is another way to apply the concept of brotherly love, or giving back, or being truth to yourself and to your values.
Yeah.
And it's common to see it. It's nice to see it applied, uniformly in all the lodges in all the countries.
That's great. And let me ask you this: can it happen that a brother would be expelled?
Well, it's really difficult that to happen. What happens is that during the rituals, we ask for the commitment throughout all your life, but of course, so we cannot kill you, as we say during the ritual, right? But it is true that if someone does not want to be a Mason, he can withdraw from being a Mason.
I see. Okay.
And like, for instance, if you want to stop paying the annual dues, then at the end, after a few years, you will not be considered a Mason anymore.
Well, if I may ask, what are general dues for most Masons?
It depends. Okay. It depends. And one thing that we are very lucky for in this lodge of Ridgefield is the fact that we have very, very minor dues. Because, for instance, if you go to New York City, dues could be way more than $1,000.
Right.
While
it's just the real estate, everything's more expensive in the city. Right.
Exactly. Here it's 1/10 of that amount.
Oh, wow.
So it's a big difference, because in this building that we own, the real estate company pays a rent to us. Mm-hmm. So thanks to that, we can lower
that's nice.
Yes, the dues to the members.
Right.
And it is true that if you are very successful in fundraising, you could even ask your members to pay less.
Sure.
That could be another way of doing it. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, again, it depends on where you are based. In big cities, from Boston or New York City and so forth, the dues are way
Makes
higher than the suburbs or the rural areas.
Can we talk a little bit about symbolism? You had mentioned the pyramids and the obelisks. How does that apply to Masonry?
Yes, first of all, there are many, many symbols and allegories in Masonry. Like, for instance, the most important ones, like the King Solomon's Temple. It's something that we reference quite a lot, because the construction of the King Solomon's Temple is central to many Masonic rituals, and the lodges themselves many times are portrayed as representing the temple.
I see.
So even during the degree, the candidate is like a protracted being inside the King Solomon temple.
And where's King Solomon's temple? King Solomon's temple, where is it?
Anciently in the area of Israel.
Okay.
Or Palestine.
Gotcha. Okay. So in the Middle East.
Specifically Jerusalem.
Okay. Gotcha.
In the area. Yes.
So this lodge here, Jerusalem number 49, is an embodiment of that temple in some way.
Yes, in the ritual, in the way we practice the degrees and so forth. Yes.
I see.
There is a sort of reenactment.
Sure. Okay.
Or mentioning. But even something easier, you saw before my jewel is the square, right? Mm-hmm. So the square is the right angle. And that is another symbol that is very, very used. Mm-hmm. And it is typically worn by the worshipful master of all the lodges. Mm-hmm. Okay, you have other ones, but this one, the square, serves to remind all the Masons to square the actions. To go back to your question before, of true love, or mm-hmm. The concept of be truth and brotherly love, so that we can be square with ourselves, with our virtues, our values, and conduct our passions, and be observant of our moral boundaries, right?
Yeah.
So it's all these symbolic. For instance, the other one is the compasses.
Yes.
Now the compass, you can make a circle with that, and that could be like your area or intervention where you need to really practice this brotherly love and be true to yourself. And then if you go out of it, you are like, going out your boundaries, right? However, because it's a compass, you can theoretically make the circle bigger. And how can you do that? You can do it with a training, with your self-improvement. Yeah. And that's why it's important to come to the lodge, to be a good Mason, to improve yourself, so that you can do more and more from this point of view, from being a better Mason for you, but also for all the others.
Is there like a Mason's handbook?
There is. After you become a Master Mason, yes. You can get a book where all the rituals and all the wording are mentioned.
Okay.
It's a thick book.
And not available on large online retailers. Okay. Well, that's a very good thing. I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad to hear that. So, I mean, there's all these common misconceptions, myths, conspiracies, the Illuminati, the Masons rule the world. Is that true? Any of it true?
No, it's not true. I mean, I can tell you that I can understand this point of view since we are in the U.S., if we take a look at historically how the country was born. So George Washington was a Master Mason, right? Half of his generals were Masons.
Yeah.
1/3 of the people that signed the Constitution, they were Masons as well. So it is true that somebody could say, "Oh, wow."
Yeah, sure. There is some historical validity to it, but again, the country is 250 years old. So, a quarter of a millennial ago, and yeah.
No, it's true, but it is a very common myth of having Freemasons that control the government, the financial institutions, the global
World
events,
Bank,
and a new world order and so forth.
Right.
But it is not true. And there is not. It would be really very difficult to do that, to organize, a control on every country, or even just only the United States.
It's just too large.
So, again, there are these historical figures that probably have created this kind of mystic concept, but there is definitely no evidence of any control in any world affairs.
Okay, so you're not ruling the world from the Jerusalem Lodge number 49 of Ridgefield. Can I just take just to make that?
We cannot even rule Ridgefield.
Fair enough.
But there are many misconceptions. I mean, the other one is like Freemasonry is an anti-woman organization, and that is definitely not true. I mean, it is the reality is that Freemasonry is an organization that is a male-only organization, right? And there are other Masonic-related bodies that accept women, right? Like the Order of the Eastern Star, but it's not anti-woman at all. I mean, the dinners that we do once a month, where the wives really want, we had dinners where they were cooking for us.
Yeah.
You know? So it's definitely not true that there is something against women in general. But there are other misconception or speculations or myth, like another myth that I always hear about is that Freemasonry is a religion or a satanic cult or anti-Christian movement or something. It's absolutely not true. I mean, first of all, it's not a religion. It's a organization that has its goals, objectives, and so forth. And it is true that we believe in one God, but almost everybody believes in higher, spiritual entity. So I like the idea, like I was saying before, that we accept members from any religion, from any faith.
Yeah.
And that's a big plus to me, in the sense that it's like a new religion made by the mix of multi-religions, the members that are part of us. So there is definitely not one religion, it's definitely not truth. But and the other myth that I always hear about is that Freemasonry is only for wealthy or old or elite men, like we were saying before, or member of the government and so forth. It's definitely not true. I mean, first of all, I am an example, right? In addition to that, the reality is that it is really for all men of all backgrounds, of all ages, all races. There is an organization, a Masonic organization, that is for African American, for instance, but we accept African Americans in our lodges. So there is no, discrimination or anything in that regard either. So it's just, again, an organization for a good commitment for a moral cause, and be good with each other.
So you said there's 60, 70 men that are members of this lodge. Has that ebbed and flowed throughout the years? Is there more or less Masons now than there once were?
Oh, yes, definitely. And that is a common problem in all the lodges.
Yeah.
That is definitely true, in the sense that if you take the membership levels of the 50s or the 60s, that's probably where the peak was.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
So since the 70s or so, the membership level started decreasing. And so we are always lower and lower, so to speak. But recently, in the last couple of years, maybe, we have been flattened or a little bit increased.
Oh, that's great.
In general.
Yeah.
And that's a big plus.
Yeah.
Of course, it's difficult because, the new generations, first of all, with the media.
Yes. It's not exactly, it doesn't lend itself for advertising on Instagram or, these are
very true. And it's a problem for many other organizations, from sports or any other type of involvement in handwork type of involvement of the kids and so forth. No?
Yeah.
And so it's a common problem, but we are pleased to have done a good job so far in trying to minimize this problem, trying to convince people to join our lodge.
Yeah. And it's an ancient order.
Correct.
Literally, possibly 1,000 years old. What has changed in the last, quarter century to bring in new membership or younger members? And has it changed?
Well, has not changed anything from the ritual point of view and everything,
of course.
However, from this exact point, we have been more proactive in trying to, first of all, get back to whoever has an inquiry or is trying to get some clarification or some understanding of what we do, who we are. And so the change there that I have seen throughout my tenure is to have a software where we keep track of all the questions that are sent either to us directly or to the Grand Lodge, that the Grand Lodge can disperse throughout the Lodge of the state, so that we can be faster in getting back to people that have questions. So that has been a big change, because I've changed the approach that was in practice when I was just 10 years ago.
Really?
Where I had to contact the lodge multiple times.
Right. They played hard to get as we were talking. Yeah.
So I think that changed. The level of being proactive in that regard changed versus before. Yes.
And you have a website?
Yes, we do. We do, definitely.
And you're on this podcast, so I mean, which is great. So, for anybody listening, and we talked a little bit, we touched on the beginning of the podcast. What would you say? I mean, we have listeners all over the country, all over the world. What's your first step? What do you recommend for somebody that's interested in becoming a Freemason?
Yeah, so anywhere you are, I would say try to learn a little bit more. First of all, on the internet, because you definitely find many stuff on a lot of stuff, and many good articles and people that have a good testimony.
Yeah.
So that is the first thing. The second thing is try to see where the closest lodge to you is, and try to see if you can get there. So at least you can have visual impact, and you can have really an understanding. You see it and you see how it is. And contact somebody so that you can clarify your doubts and learn more, because I'm pretty sure that most of the people that try to learn more will be really keen to join the organization. And specifically for us, for this lodge, I welcome anybody to come to our sessions that are the first and the third Mondays of every month, excluding June, where we do the first Monday only, and September, where we might do only the second, depending on when Labor Day falls. Like this year, the first Monday was Labor Day, so we did not do that. But because during the summer we go silent, so to speak, in the sense that we don't meet to be off. I mean, we have the AC unit that is not working.
Right. Yeah.
So, but yes, usually lodges are closed either in the summertime or the winter time. It depends. Like for instance, in the northern states of the United States, they tend to be closed more during the winter.
And everybody's down in Florida.
Down in Florida.
The snowbirds.
It's more the summertime. Yeah, so it depends. But so the first thing is to contact the lodge, talk to people, have clarity on all the doubts you have. And again, for us, come to the lodge, do your research on the internet.
Yeah.
We have the website here, www.jerusalemlodge49.org. Yes. Over there, even if you Google the Jerusalem Lodge 49 or Ridgefield in Connecticut, you can get to our website, or you have other sites that reference to us. In our website, you will have my name, Marco Bechelli, and all the officers of the lodge as well. So you can contact anybody. You're more than welcome to contact myself, of course. But someone will get back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's for sure. And the first thing that we like to do for a person that is interested to learn more about us is, first of all, to invite the person at the lodge, but second, even to have a coffee at the Starbucks or any other coffee shop or anything, so that we can really present ourselves and clarify any doubts. But most of all, to give examples of the projects that we have done and, really make it work.
It's a two-way street, in other words.
Exactly. Always. All this, yes.
And you had said Danbury, which is the next town over, has two lodges. I'm sure in a city like New York City, there are multiple lodges. Are there different, flavors to each lodge? Or some known to have more artistic members versus more financial? How does that work when you've got a number of lodges in one smaller area in a city?
Sure, definitely. So first of all, the ritual, again, of the Freemasons are always the same, but the projects that someone wants to carry out depends on the people of the lodge.
I see.
So someone might be more keen on fundraising for, the children with cancers, for instance, or somebody are more into dinners like we are.
Yeah.
Or somebody else is more in games, for instance.
Yeah.
So it depends on the lodge. And that's the beauty of it, because usually, like, everything that I do, that I lead, I always try to get the majority of the votes to go in one direction or another.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of the organization, where you can really have your say in what you want to do.
Yeah. All right. Well, Marco Bechelli, Worshipful Master President of Jerusalem Lodge number 49, JerusalemLodge49.org. It's been a pleasure. Thanks, sir. Thanks for having me here, and thanks for being on the podcast.
My pleasure. It was really a pleasure to be with you.
Glad we made it happen. All right, Marco.
All right. Thank you.
All Across America is produced by me, Marco Vig, in Ridgefield, Connecticut. Visit us on Instagram at All Across America. Check out our website, allacrossamerica.com. There's an interactive map with all our episodes, and there's a Contact Us page where you can send your reactions, guest ideas, and suggestions. So get in touch, stay connected. To me, that's what podcasting is all about. Thanks for listening.